Hello and welcome to the show. This week's FailRace versus the community. We were to go racing with D-Class cars fitted with 4-cylinder engines. Our first race was at the Sonoma Short Circuit. This Opel gets things a little bit sideways coming up through the first couple of corners here. He made a good start, got past the BMW, but would lose out to the 2002 Turbo, the Fulvia, and a Fiat X19 would find its way past. Now the Opels are under threat from an MX-5. MX-5 carries huge speeds up through the S's this first time around. Another Fulvia is around the outside of the slightly struggling Cadet. The next big braking zone, and Acura goes for a cutback and gets the move done on the Cadet further back. Everybody had been pretty damn neat and tidy on this opening lap, which is always good to see. The Opel was up the inside, but didn't quite have the acceleration to really fight back, and he left a lovely space for a Porsche to immediately fill. The Porsche very, very quick on the acceleration side of things, and still the Opel is stuck out of position, having to try and avoid a Renault 5. Alfa Romeo's around the outside, Mini's coming, another Renault 5. It's 3 wide coming through this. It's almost 4 wide at one point. This is not a place you want to be 3 wide coming up to. Fastest corner on the track. A Renault 5 trying to go around the outside of the Porsche. Couldn't quite make it stay, but the Opel was very much hemorrhaging positions on this opening lap. I was having a flight with a Clio, the Renault 5s to the outside. I dive up the inside of everybody, make a good sort of 2-3 positions in all of that, getting past the Clio and the Cadet, and I'm alongside the Renault 5 in my Toyota. The Clio is coming as well around the outside of the Opel. It's going to be 3 wide again down towards the first corner. The Cadet thinks better of it, gets a little bit squeezed to the wall by the Renault 5. The Renault 5 sweeps around. The Opel gets another little bit of a twitch, and the Scion is around the outside. Not a good start for the poor Cadet. Was second by turn 1 on the opening lap, and was well down the order by the time they came around again. There was plenty of action going on in this race, as an Alfa Romeo is trying to make a move stick on an MX-5. The Porsche was having difficulties. Not surprising the amount of time that car was spending with a wheel wiggling around up in the air. The Alfa Romeo would make the move stick. The S's are without a doubt one of the most difficult places on this track to try and get passes done, and then the Alfa immediately throws it away through the next corner, running out wide. The MX-5 is coming back at him, trying to get up the inside around the hairpin. Probably the most sensible of the overtaking spots. The MX-5 almost does it, but gets a very big slide and just doesn't quite have the run to fight with that Alfa. The Renault 5, you may have saw in the back of last shot, got a little bit of a snag from the Acura, got dumped down the order slightly, was trying to make his way back through, had to go around the outside at the hairpin. That's quite it's quite a tough manoeuvre to make an outside pass work there. The Renault 5 though was very, very quick in a straight line, even with its interesting, I'm going to go with interesting, rear wing, managing to get past the Mini as they came up towards turn 1. Now, I've often said racing the lower class cars is the most fun because you get some of the best action, and that was certainly apparent today as the Renault does a little bit of rallycross while I was in the mix for the fight further up. This Scion was trying to carve his way through the order, getting to the inside of the Acura. And overtaking can be tough at this track. The Acura coming back at the inside through the next turn, not quite far enough. Because of the nature of this circuit, there's a lot of high-speed, medium-speed corners with very little in the way of braking zones. Actually trying to get a pass can be really rather tough around this circuit. Turn 1 and 2 are very, very awkward corners to really do very much through. Lots of people take very, very different lines through that section. This was further back. Mini and a Datsun were having a fight for position, and we see this happen an awful lot at this circuit. The Mini was just pushing a little bit too hard. The Cadet is very sideways across the curb there. Mini, yeah, pushed it a little too hard, ran wide, and as soon as you get a wheel on the dirt there, the way the track falls away from you, you're going to get the car completely and utterly stuck. I was up in the battle for 4th place between a Porsche, a Renault Clio, and my Celica. The Porsche, very, very quick car, but incredibly difficult to drive through the corners with its bouncing and wallowing around on the suspension. The Clio spots an opportunity as we go side by side through these S's. My Celica was a fantastic car, probably one of the best cars I've built for these races, and I'm around the outside. I come from quite a long way back as well to get around the outside of the Porsche. Probably one of my favourite overtakes that I've done on anything. The Fulvia spotted a gap, tried to come with me. Well, I couldn't quite get it slowed down. It was a big dive from the Lancia. He gave it a go, could have come off if he could have got it stopped a little bit better. The Porsche comes back at him though with a cutback and is now chasing me down under acceleration. I'm just far enough ahead though, and I can carry so much speed. The Celica was a really very good car. Fantastically quick car through these turns and still had decent straight line speed. I think the first time I've used a front wheel drive car in quite a while, as the Porsche gets some understeer and is off. Yeah, my Toyota was faring very, very well around here. The MX-5, having lost a few positions early on, found a groove and was then working his way back through the order, and sure enough we see another car doing some of that rallycross. So many vehicles ended up out there as they fight it out. The MX-5 almost made it stick. The Acura did a great job of holding that one around the outside. That is a tough place to hold around there cleanly. The MX-5 does get to the inside of the next corner, a fairly decent overtaking opportunity, but we see it time and time again. If you are stuck on the outside, you can often get a really, really good run off of the turn, and that would keep the Acura ahead. And while the MX-5 is very, very close as we run through the S's, a little bit compromised being so close to the car ahead, it's so difficult to overtake down here. With these very, very fast corners, practically nothing in the way of braking zones, it's incredibly tough to go too wide at the front, and things have remained close the entire race between the Alpine and the Lancia. They were pulling clear of third place here. The Fulvia was going on full attack. He'd had a very, very good previous lap to catch right up to the back of the Alpine. As I said, though, overtaking is not easy around this circuit. The Lancia finally gets a really good run down towards the next corner. The Alpine stuck on the outside. As I said, though, we've seen it before. If you can keep your foot down, if you can get a good run off of that turn, it's quite easy in some respects to hold a pass around the outside. The Fulvia is quick, though, as they head towards the S's. They're going to go side by side. Little bit of paint swabbing between the pair of them. The Fulvia does manage to almost get his car ahead. It's still not quite clear as we come up towards this next very, very fast corner. The Alpine stuck on the outside is a scary place to be stuck on the outside. He's pushed his luck and it's still almost there. In the end, the Fulvia was just a little bit quicker. The Fulvia does outbrake himself into the final turn, gives the Alpine an opportunity to fire the car back up the inside. But the Lancia gets a great run off the turn. Good acceleration from that Lancia and would pull himself clear of the little Alpine. And that is how it would finish. One fantastic lap from the Fulvia was enough to put it up ahead from the Alpine. Couldn't really break clear. These two cars were very, very close. I would have loved to have been in the fight with my my Toyota. I was setting relatively similar laps as well to these cars. I had a little bit more busy opening laps from these two that started right at the front of the grid. They had a great race though to finish first for the Lancia, second for the Renault. The Fiat X19 would come in a rather lonely third place. This was the battle for fourth. I had got fourth. I overcooked it on the final lap, just tipped it in with a little too much speed from the Toyota. Puts me out on the dirt. I keep my foot down though. Not going to be giving up easily. The Clio gets to the inside. I'm forced to go the long way around. The Renault 5 is up the inside. The Porsche is coming as well. Of course, my very wide line on the way in. Yes, it gave them plenty of track position up the inside, but I get a really good drive off the turn. I try to fight back with the Toyota. It's not quite enough. Fourth, would go to the Clio. Fifth to the Renault 5. My Toyota in sixth with the Porsche in seventh. Did a great job of keeping that car on the road. Unfortunately, the replay for round 2 has died again. Forza is getting a lot worse these days. With we had a lobby disconnect and nobody could save the replay, sadly. So round 3, we headed to the Lime Rock circuit with these cars. Round 2 was fantastic fun. I'm really annoyed by that. We had really, really good racing in round 2. But to be fair, we had really good racing in all of these. These D-Class cars were fantastic fun. They were produced some of the best racing we've had, really. On Forza 6, Subaru Brat gets a little bit of trouble. I do get slightly tagged on this first lap and dropped back. Now, that corner, we already saw a couple of cars off on the grass already. That was to be a notorious place for vehicles sticking wheels on the grass, as this BMW survived the opening lap melee. And this Duke was trying to make his way up through the order. Surprisingly fast, the Duke, as it goes 3 wide into the final turn. It doesn't quite all fit the BMW on the inside, ran out of road there. The Duke, some impressive straight line speed, breezing past an Escort, catching up to a Lancia. He's up the inside of the BMW as well. That's a lot of places with with that kind of straight line speed, getting a relatively good run out of the final corner. The Honda Prelude was trying to come with him. Yeah, the Duke was doing better than we were expecting. We weren't expecting to see the Duke quite as far up the order, but there we go. Behind the Duke, the BMW was trying to keep up, fighting his way past a Datsun. The Datsun did have a big go at the inside, couldn't quite do it. In doing so, slowed himself down quite a lot. My Toyota was going to pounce again. My Celica, very quick car around this circuit, trying to recover from a poor start, and the Datsun just being out of position for one corner cost him 2 places. Very nearly cost him another one, and as the Abarth had a go up the inside, he couldn't quite stop it, ended up running wide on the exit. The Datsun would claim the position back as the Fiat did a bit of rally cross, and the Prelude would now get up the inside of the Abarth as they come in towards turn 1. Quite a sideways Prelude though, as they went through there. At the front, and this Subaru Brat was up in third, chasing down the 2 leaders. A Fiesta leading a Toyota. Toyota a little bit slow off of turn 2. That gives the Subaru Brat an opportunity. I think the Toyota a little bit wide as well out of that corner. The Brat with its 4-wheel drive, very, very good traction off the turns, was struggling with a lack of straight line speed. However, the Fiesta clips the curb, runs the grass a little bit too much. You take that sort of very tight line. Well, yes, it's kind of good for defensive. If it's a too narrow a line, you end up quite slow off the corner, and the Fiesta was just stuck on that inside. The Subaru Brat would round him up around the outside, and that would propel the Subaru to a rather unlikely lead, but he was being rather quickly chased down. Further back, we were seeing plenty of action as well. The Sierra got himself in trouble, ran a wheel across the grass, and that's all it takes when you've got a vehicle so close behind. With vehicles like these in D-Class, you really can't afford to make little mistakes. The vehicles were pretty damn evenly matched. There was no massively, stupidly fast car. They were relatively evenly matched, so one little mistake was going to be very, very costly. There was a 5-car battle going on for, it was about a 6-car battle at one point, for the lead here, as I have to get incredibly brave, squeezing around the outside. There was just about space for my my Toyota, and I made the most of it to get around the outside of the Fiesta. Me and the BMW were trying to chase down that Duke, which in turn was trying to chase down the Brat. The Brat ran a wheel across the dirt on the outside. My Celica had some pretty decent straight line speed as I get up alongside the BMW. The Duke catching massively to the Subaru, but it wasn't quite close enough. The Brat does run quite wide, gets a really good run off the sort of really good acceleration off the turn and can keep ahead. I was up the inside of the BMW and promptly get blocked in by a giant Nissan that is filling the track, so my good dive up the inside pretty much came to nothing, although through the next corner the BMW stuck on the outside. He puts a wheel on the grass, and that's going to cause trouble. He just keeps it out of the fence. Yeah, running wide through that corner, we saw so many cars, especially when they were running side by side in the way that we were through there. You just try and get on the power a little too soon when you're stuck on the outside, and yep, you end up taking a trip across the scenery. Renault Alpine here was trying to make his way up through the order as a Mini and Toyota up ahead were having a little bit of a fight, and sure enough, exact same story. The Renault spotted a gap as the Mini tried to get on the power, almost a carbon copy of the BMW. Just you try and get on that power a little too soon, and once one wheel's on the grass, you lose that grip and you just kind of get suckered off the track at the front. And the Brat was leading the way, still holding on this time from the BMW, as my Celica was hounding the pair of them. The Subaru goes very defensive early on as the BMW chases him across the road. I have the best run of the lot of them down towards turn 1, but I'm stuck on the outside. I actually go a little too late on the brakes. I'm out very, very wide. The Brat can fight back, and while initially not able to get to the inside of the BMW through turn 1, he will manage to make it there for the second corner. My Toyota right back in the fight. The Duke's not that far behind the BMW, and Brat just tag ever so slightly through the next corner, slowing themselves down. We're all boxed in, and immediately just that one small tag, and suddenly the Duke's there. The Toyota's there as well. As the Duke gets past the Brat, I'm trying to go around the outside of the BMW. It worked on the Fiesta. I couldn't quite do it though on the M3. We're having a fantastic race at the front of the field as we yeah, very much a 5-car battle for the lead. Although now we had cleared the Brat, we were hoping to pull away a little bit and yeah, just try and give us a little bit of a breathing space. Again, you know, a sign of a sort of a good race is when the fighting is going on very much throughout the entire field, and that was the case. We weren't seeing any cars having massive straight line speed advantages here. There were a couple of cars that were quick. The Duke was fast. My Celica was actually pretty fast. You know, this MR2 was quicker than the Nissan, but it wasn't by such a huge amount, which actually meant the racing was really rather interesting between these cars. The MR2 did get himself to the inside, down towards turn 1, but the Nissan is fighting back through the corners. A little bit of a laggy bump sends the Nissan out a bit wide, but he's still on the inside through the next corner. The MR2 judges it perfectly, this time not having a wheel out on the dirt, and the MR2 will move up a position. You can go round the outside at that corner. It is difficult though. It is difficult, and it's always tempting to try and get on the throttle a little too soon, and yeah, that's where we saw some problems. Unfortunately, at the front, well, I would go on to take victory, a little bit of a hollow victory. While I was chasing down the BMW on the final lap, he got a little tangled with a back marker that dropped the M3 into third. Whether I could have got past or not, I don't know. It would have been a very interesting final lap. My Celica was mighty, mighty fast. The Duke would get second, the BMW third ahead of the Toyota in fourth. Is a little bit of a shame. Would like to have had the final lap showdown between me and the BMW. The Celica was a mighty quick car here. It was a very quick car. I think there's a Corsa in sixth, got a little tangled up at the start that dropped back, but he was setting very similar lap times to me as well. So, yeah. The two races that I have replays for were great. The race that the replay was lost of, was at Road Atlanta, was another fantastic race. A really, really good race, that one as well. These D-Class cars were incredible fun. You know, even with my stupid bit of driving at Sonoma, I still had an incredible amount of fun in that race. Lime Rock was a great battle, great six-car battle for the lead for a few laps, and in Road Atlanta, there was plenty of stuff going on there as well. So, yeah, definitely these lower classes are a lot of fun. Celica, I would highly recommend. Incredible car, this one. And I am sorry that I don't have the replay for round 2. The Forza servers are getting shockingly bad at the moment. I tried to save it. Loads of people tried to save it from that lobby, but everyone got disconnected before it would work. So, yeah, that's the fun of Forza. And speaking of the fun of Forza servers, well, next week we are not going to be on Forza 6 for Versus the Community. On a Thursday, the 7th of April, we are going to do a Versus the Community on Trackmania Turbo. We're going to have a go. I'm going to randomly generate 3 tracks, might do 4 tracks, and yeah, do a lobby of that. So if you would like to sign up and take part in that, then you can via our forums. There'll be a link in the description. Find the FailRace vs. the community section, and you can sign up in there. And because we're on Trackmania Turbo, we can have potentially up to 100 people competing. Now, I very highly doubt we're going to get that many, but yeah, we could have a really rather large lobby, and I think it could be quite good fun. I like the multiplayer on Trackmania, so yeah, that's what we shall be doing next week. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.